Hey everyone! Today we're diving into one of the most famous lists in all of human history, the Seven Wonders of the Ancient World.
7 absolutely spectacular creations that just pushed the limits of what people thought was possible. But here's the crazy part. Of all 7, only 1 is still around for us to see today.
So that's the big question, right? What on earth happened to the other 6? Where did these incredible monuments go? Well, stick around because that's exactly what we're about to find out. Okay, let's get into it. First things first, you got to understand this list wasn't some, divinely inspired text. It was basically the world's very first travel guide, a must-see list for Greek tourists who wanted to check out the most amazing sights in their world. And this is key. It was so much more than just a list of big buildings. It was a checklist of human genius. Each wonder was a monument to pure ambition, a celebration of what we're capable of when we dream big.
All right, let's kick off our grand tour with wonders built for 2 things humans have always been obsessed with: honoring our gods and trying to conquer death. And you just have to start with the lone survivor.
The Great Pyramid of Giza. I mean, come on. Built as a massive tomb for Pharaoh Khufu, it's not just the only one left standing, it's also the oldest on the list, by a long shot. Honestly, the fact that it's still here is almost as incredible as how it was built in the first place.
Next up, a temple that was so unbelievably beautiful, it was destroyed and rebuilt over and over again, the Temple of Artemis. This thing was a masterpiece made completely out of marble that took 120 years to finish. But its luck ran out. After surviving so much, it was finally torn down for good by a mob, a really brutal end for something so gorgeous.
And check this out. Our next stop is a tomb that was so grand, so over the top, it literally gave us the word we still use today: mausoleum. It was built for a king named, you guessed it, Mausolus. And what finally brought it down wasn't some army or a fire. It was just the slow, unstoppable power of earthquakes, after standing strong for 1,600 years.
Okay, so we've seen some incredible buildings. Now, let's talk about a couple of statues. And when I say statues, I mean absolute giants, made from things like bronze and ivory.
Try to picture this in your head. A statue of Zeus, king of the gods, sitting on his throne. Standing 12 meters tall, that's about 40 feet, and it was made of precious ivory and covered in sheets of gold. Just awe-inspiring. But what's wild is that its ending is a total mystery. The best guess was that it was moved to a palace and then just lost in a fire. We might never know for sure.
So if the end of Zeus is a mystery, this next one is just a flat-out tragedy. The Colossus of Rhodes, a humongous, 33-meter-tall bronze statue of the sun god Helios. But here's the heartbreaking part. It had the shortest life of any wonder. It stood for only 54 years before an earthquake just snapped it at the knees. All that work, gone in an instant. All right, for our last 2 stops, we're looking at structures that weren't just art. They were absolute game changers in ancient engineering.
The Lighthouse of Alexandria was no mere decoration. It had a hugely important job: guiding ships safely into the busiest harbor in the ancient world. For hundreds of years, it was one of the tallest things on the entire planet, and they say its light could be seen from 50 kilometers away. Just incredible. And like the mausoleum, it was eventually taken down by a series of earthquakes.
And that brings us to our final wonder. The one that's, well, the most mysterious, the most debated of them all: the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Ancient stories paint this picture of a green mountain of terraced gardens, full of exotic plants, just rising up out of the middle of the desert.
But here's the big question, the one that historians still argue about. Did they even exist? You see, unlike every other wonder on this list, we have found zero archaeological proof that the gardens were ever in Babylon. It's the only one whose existence is up for debate. It's like a ghost on our list.
So, after this whole tour of these lost marvels, what does it all mean? What kind of legacy do these wonders leave behind, echoing through the ages?
You know, this timeline really tells the story. Look way over on the left, the Great Pyramid, finished thousands of years before the others, just outlasting them all. And then look all the way to the right, the poor Colossus, gone in just 54 years. It really drives home just how fragile these masterpieces were. And I think that's the real takeaway here. These wonders, they're a testament to the imagination, ambition, and skill of the ancient world. But they're also a reminder of how fragile even the greatest achievements can be. It's this amazing, kind of humbling mix of our power to create and the fact that nothing really lasts forever.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to chew on. If we had to make a list of 7 wonders for our world today, what would even make the cut? What monuments today really capture our genius and ambition? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this one.